What's up, everyone? We're going to be going through the best WNBA player props on PrizePicks today. Now, if you watched yesterday's YouTube video, we actually got 2 out of the 4 picks correct. So we had a bit of an average day. I'm really sorry about that, guys and girls, but I am here again because I got some locks for you, and this is for the WNBA as well. However, I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and we actually got 20 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now, a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 20 right, which is a 90% win rate. Yes, guys, you heard that right. 90% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 90% win rate and get 20 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $226 just yesterday. Another member who won $125 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. So quick shout out to Ricardo Gioza, who said let's cash out today. Let's go. Shouts out to Jalen Keelan, who said we cash in today, and shouts out to E Jeter 4710, who said let's us eat. So shouts out to them, and if you do want to win a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below in this video and like it, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is Rhyne Howard, and this one is for 17.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now looking at Rhyne Howard, we've actually seen her go on the under in 3 out of the last 5 games. Now looking at those 5 games, you see on May 23rd, faced off against Indiana, where she had 24 points there. Then on May 25th, faced off against Dallas, where she had actually 9 points. After that, faced off against a Connecticut Sun team on May 26th and had 11 points there. Then May 28th, faced off against the Sparks where she had 15, and then 33 points against Seattle on May 31st. So we have seen her go on the under, like I mentioned, in 3 out of the last 5 games, and the average over the last 5 is actually 18.4. Now coming into this matchup, it's definitely going to be an exciting game, but Rhyne Howard and Atlanta do face off against Connecticut Sun. Now looking at Connecticut Sun and also the matchup with Atlanta Dream. Atlanta Dream do rank 3rd in the WNBA with a 5-2 record. So 5 wins, 2 losses, 71.4% win percentage. And we actually have seen them face off against, in this next matchup, against Connecticut Sun, which they have played before. And Connecticut Sun do have a record of 1-6. So 1 win, 6 losses, 14.3% win percentage. And they also rank 12th when it comes to the WNBA. So they haven't really been doing too well when it comes to Connecticut Sun, but obviously we still do like the under for this situation. Now looking at Connecticut Sun, we do see that they rank 12th when it comes to points allowed. Now the reason why we do like the under for this situations is for a couple of different reasons. First being that although Connecticut Sun do rank low when it comes to restricting points allowed, we do see Rhyne Howard does play the guard position, and Connecticut Sun actually do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Connecticut Sun, on top of that, have already played against, Atlanta and especially Rhyne Howard as well. And Rhyne Howard was only able to get 11 points in that matchup. So that's definitely already a telltale sign to us that in their most recent matchup, it was definitely a struggle for Rhyne Howard. And that's due to the fact that, like we mentioned before, Connecticut just do a great job against guards. So we definitely see someone like Rhyne Howard struggling here. Now, when you look at Howard as well and her line, you also do see she is coming off a matchup where she did have 33 points against Seattle. Now, that's what we call mostly an outlier game, and because of that outlier game, it has brought this line a little bit too high, and now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here for someone like Rhyne Howard. Now, Rhyne Howard as well has been doing great. However, I think when we look at her average over the last 5, in a sense that she has actually averaged 18.4, we do believe that 33-point matchup and also the 24 points against Indiana has brought this average just a little bit too high. So, I think it is a little bit overlined in that sense, which is why we do like the under for this one. So keep an eye out for this matchup. When we look at Atlanta and Connecticut, we aren't also expecting that fast of a pace of a game. We are expecting something a little bit on the slower side, and less volume and less pace definitely goes hand in hand. So for that reason, keep an eye out for Ryan Howard. So Ryan Howard, 17.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now, getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than Marina Mabrey. So Marina Mabrey, another great player for none other than Connecticut Sun. Now, this one is obviously from the opposing side, but this one is a great one for 15.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Marina Mabrey, we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, they do face off against none other than, Atlanta Dream, as we all know, but looking at her last 5 games, you see on May 24th, faced off against Minnesota. She had 22 points there. Then May 26th faced off against Atlanta, where she had 12 points. Then May 28th faced off against Dallas, where she had 19 points. Then May 31st faced off against Indiana, where she actually had 26 points. And then 8 points against New York Liberty on June 2nd. So we definitely have seen an interesting matchup for Marina Mabrey, especially against, these teams. Now, we have also seen her face off against Atlanta before, but just to reiterate again, Connecticut do rank 12th with a 1-6 record, while Atlanta have a 5-2 record and rank 3rd. But coming into this matchup, Connecticut and Atlanta Dream, now, we have seen that Atlanta Dream do rank when it comes to points allowed. They do rank 7th. So it is pretty good in a sense that they do rank pretty mid-tier in that category. And we definitely still see that being enough to cause havoc for someone like Marina Mabrey. Now, Mabrey, like I mentioned, is a guard as well. And Atlanta Dream do a fantastic job at restricting points to the guard position. So that definitely helps out there. But if you did see May 26th, they faced off against Atlanta and she only had 12 points in that matchup. So that's definitely a telltale sign to us on why we do like the under for this situation here. We definitely saw it in that most recent game against each other, where Atlanta are just a great defensive team and have done a fantastic job at restricting guards, not just Connecticut, but also to other teams. But that is a big reason why we do very much like the under for this situation here. Like we mentioned with the last pick as well, we are expecting a little bit more of a slower pace type game in some sense. Nothing really too crazy, but definitely a little bit on the slower side. And like we always mention, a slower pace means less volume, and less volume means less opportunity. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here for Marina Mabrey. So keep an eye out for her line. When we look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well. So Marina Mabrey, 15.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting into the next one, we're going to be talking about Kelsey Plum. So, Kelsey Plum, great player. This one is for 22.5 points, and this one actually is for less. Now, looking at Kelsey Plum, we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now, this one's an interesting one because we have seen her go on the under, like I mentioned. But what we also have seen when it comes to Kelsey Plum, that May 24th faced off against Golden State, actually had 16 points there. May 26th faced off against Chicago, where she had 28 points. Then May 28th faced off against Atlanta, had 27 points. Then May 31st faced off against, Las Vegas Aces, and actually had 20 points there. And then 15 points against Phoenix on June 2nd. So we have seen her go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now coming into this next one, we do very much like the under for this situation here. Now, a big reason being for this is due to the fact that when we look at someone like Kelsey Plum, although she is a fantastic... So coming into this matchup, we do see the LA Sparks do face off against, Dallas. Now, looking at both of these teams, we have seen Sparks have a bit of a struggle in their season because they actually have a 2-6 record. So they actually rank 11th, 2 wins, 6 losses, so hasn't really been the best for them. And on top of that, when it comes to Kelsey Plum, they do actually face off, like I mentioned, against Dallas, and Dallas Wings also have a pretty poor, record, as they have 1 win, 7 losses, a 12.5% win percentage. So they haven't really been doing too well there. Now they also rank 13th in the WNBA, but coming into this next matchup, we do see that the Dallas Wings do rank when it comes to points allowed. We see that they rank 11th, so they rank pretty low. However, what we have seen time and time again is that Dallas Wings do a fantastic job at restricting points points to the guard position. So when we look on a per position basis, we do see that Dallas do a great job against guards, and we definitely see that being a big effect there. Now, looking at someone like Kelsey Plum, we do not only just like the under for that reason, but coming into this game, Sparks and Dallas, we have seen Kelsey Plum's usage rate for her team, the LA Sparks, hasn't really been the best and hasn't been as consistent as we thought of. Now, like I mentioned, she has gone on the under more than she has gone on the over, so that's definitely a sign for us there. But when you also just watch footage, you definitely see Kelsey Plum in her new team, the Sparks, is definitely a different sort of usage rate that she is getting out there on the floor, and she hasn't really had time to adjust to it. So that's why coming into this one, we definitely see her struggling just a little bit, which is why we do like the under for a situation like this. So for that reason, definitely keep an eye out for the under for this situation for Kelsey Plum. And when you look at what the bookies are saying, bookies also have her favored for the under as well. So for that reason, Kelsey Plum, 22.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but PrizePicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player going to be talking about is none other than Saniya Rivers. Now, as you all know, she is a great rookie for none other than Connecticut Sun. And she has done a fantastic job, so far this season for her new team. Now, when it comes to someone like Saniya Rivers, we do see that she has actually averaged 7.7 points, 2.8 rebounds, 3 assists, while also getting 1.2 steals. So she has done a fantastic job for Connecticut Sun. However, Connecticut haven't had the greatest start to the regular season because they currently find themselves in the 12th spot in the WNBA with a 1-6 record. So it hasn't really looked too well for them. Now, when we look at a player like Saniya Rivers and also the team Connecticut Sun, they do face off against Atlanta Dream in this next matchup. Now, Atlanta Dream, they are a little bit on the other side of the sort of position because they actually come in at the 3rd spot. And in the 3rd spot, they do actually, have a record of 5-2 with a 71.4% win percentage. So they have definitely done a fantastic job there. Now, when we look at someone like Atlanta Dream, we also do see that they are currently on a 4-game win streak, while Connecticut Sun are currently on a 1-game losing streak. So, they were able to break the streak recently and get their first win. Now, looking at Atlanta Dream and where they do rank defensively, we do see Atlanta Dream ranking 7th when it comes to points allowed, 5th when it comes to assists allowed, and then when it comes to rebounds allowed, they do rank 3rd. Now, when it comes to someone like Saniya Rivers, she is a great player, did not get me wrong, but we definitely see her going on the under here. And a big reason for this is that we have seen Connecticut Sun, play Saniya Rivers in a very interesting way. Some games she does get a good amount of usage rate out there, and other games she doesn't. I do believe Sun are still trying to figure out, sort of how their system of their team actually works, which is one of the reasons why they do find themselves in a 1-6 position. So, although Saniya Rivers is a great player, we do see her going under on her line. Now, when it comes to, which ones to focus on, I think rebounds and also, on top of that, points, I think is a good one to definitely keep an eye out for. I think she definitely has a capability more to go on the under in rebounds, however, so I definitely would focus a little bit more on that. Points, it really does depend when it comes to her usage rate out there on the floor. So I think rebounds, points, those two definitely focus on. Rebounds a little bit more. But looking at her last 5 games or most recent games over this season, we did see she faced off on the 24th against Minnesota Lynx. They lost 76-70. She actually had 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Next, they face off against Atlanta Dream on the 26th, and they also, did pretty poorly because they actually lost 79-55. She actually had 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then faced off against Dallas Wings next with a 109-87 loss, had 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Then against Indiana, where they were able to win 85-83, and she had 12 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists there. And in the most recent matchup against New York Liberty, who are a top team. They absolutely got smoked 152. And in that matchup, she actually had 2 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists there. So for that reason, coming into this next one, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We have seen that they did face off against Atlanta Dream recently, and she did only have 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists. And we are expecting, similar sort of numbers in this next game. On top of that, when it comes to this matchup, a lot of the bookies are thinking that this will be actually a blowout situation. If it is a blowout situation, not only could we see Saniya Rivers not really perform the best, but she may get taken out early, for those reasons. And other, kind of bench warmers will probably finish off the rest of the game, like what happened in the matchup against New York Liberty. So for that reason, we are sticking to the under for this one. So keep an eye out for Saniya Rivers. Rebounds and points is definitely where you want to focus on. I see a lot of value there. So keep an eye out for the line. If the line is too close to her averages, then definitely look to go on the under. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about NaLyssa Smith. So, NaLyssa Smith, a great player from none other than the Dallas Wings. And she's done a fantastic job as a great forward for Wings because she's averaged 8.6 points, 3.6 rebounds, also dishing out 0.9 assists, and also grabbing 0.5 steals. So, NaLyssa Smith has done a fantastic job for Dallas Wings. And when it comes to the matchup for Dallas Wings, they do have themselves a very good matchup against the Los Angeles Sparks. So, it's definitely going to be a very exciting game between both of these teams. Now, looking at where both of these teams actually stand, we do see Dallas Wings have had a very tough start to their season. Now, they currently have a record of 1-7 with a 12.5% win percentage and also currently ranked 13th. So it definitely hasn't been the best for them. But we also see the Sparks in a similar situation because the Los Angeles Sparks have a record of 2-6, a 25% win percentage, and also are ranked 11th in the WNBA. So NaLyssa Smith is definitely going to be facing off a poor team as well. But still, looking at Los Angeles Sparks, we do see that the Sparks do actually rank 10th when it comes to points allowed. They also rank 9th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed. We also do see the Sparks ranking 5th. So they rank a little bit worse in points and assists and a little bit better in rebounds. And for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like NaLyssa Smith. But we do like the over strictly for just points and assists. And a big reason being is that when it comes to Sparks, like we mentioned, they do rank a little bit worse in the points and assists category. And for that reason, we do very much think that NaLyssa Smith will be able to take advantage of Sparks not doing too well in both of those categories. So for that reason, we do very much like the over. Now, looking at Smith and her last recent games, we do see on the 25th of last month, we actually saw them face off against Atlanta Dream, where they lost 83-75, and she had 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 0 assists there. Then they faced off against Connecticut Sun on the 28th with a 109-87 victory, and she actually had 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 4 assists in that matchup. After that, faced off against Chicago on the 30th, had a 97-92 loss. She had 2 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. Then faced off against on the 1st of this month and actually had a 94-83 loss to Chicago again, but she had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist there. And then most recently faced off against Seattle Storm with an 83-77 loss. She had 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists there. So for that reason, we still do very much like the over. We have seen at times, NaLyssa Smith do great in some games, a little bit worse in others, but with an easier matchup like the Sparks, we should see someone like NaLyssa be able to do very well. So definitely keep an eye out for the over for NaLyssa Smith. Like I mentioned, keep an eye out for points and assists specifically due to the fact that, Sparks are very poor at restricting those two categories. So we should see NaLyssa be able to take advantage of that. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Rickea Jackson. So Rickea Jackson, great player, as we all know, from none other than the Los Angeles Sparks. And she's actually done a fantastic job because we actually have seen her average 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1.3 assists, while also, grabbing 0.3 steals. So she has done a fantastic job. Now, obviously, we just talked about the Sparks, but Los Angeles Sparks do face off against the Dallas Wings again. Now, just to remind you again where both these teams rank, Sparks do rank 11th, 2-6 record, 25% win percentage, and then Wings on the other side, they rank 13th, the 1-7 record and a 12.5% win percentage. So definitely hasn't been too good for both of these teams. Now looking at Dallas Wings as well, we do see that they rank 11th when it comes to points allowed, 13th when it comes to assists allowed, and then rebounds allowed, they do rank 9th. So they rank very, very low in all three categories. So when we look at someone like Rickea Jackson, like I mentioned, the fact that they do rank so low, not only do we believe that, we have the capability to see Rickea go on the over, but we are also expecting that because Rickea is a forward, and what we have noticed is that Dallas Wings do a very, very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the forward position. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here. When it comes to someone like Rickea, and looking at her most recent games, she has only played 3 games so far this season. Now in those games on the 17th of last month, they faced off against Golden State with an 84-67 victory. Now she actually had 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists there. Then next matchup after that faced off against Minnesota Lynx. We had an 89-75 loss, and in that matchup had 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist, and then faced off against Atlanta on the 28th with an 88-82 loss with 0 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists there. So we do very much like, the over for this situation. Although some of the games she hasn't really done too well, it was also on restrictive minutes. And, she has been out for, not all the games, but definitely hasn't played every single game so far for the Sparks. But we should see her come out in this matchup, as healthy as possible. Now, looking at this matchup even further, the fact that Rickea Jackson does have a higher usage rate a little bit in points and rebounds compared to assists, just keep an eye out. I think there more likely will be a line out for points and rebounds. Assists is definitely going to be up in the air. It really does depend on, whether a line is going to be viable, because she does have a little bit of a lower usage rate. So I thought I'd just let you guys know that, to keep an eye out for that you may only see a points and rebounds line. But either way, keep an eye out for both of those lines. You want to keep an eye out if the line is under her averages, then definitely look to go on the over. Now getting to the next player, we're going to be talking about Nia Coffey. So Nia Coffey, great player for Atlanta Dream, and she's done a fantastic job so far this season because she's averaged 7 points, 4.7 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and 0.4 steals. So when we look at someone like Nia Coffey, she has been a very, very big asset, to this team. And we do see Nia Coffey and Atlanta Dream face off against Connecticut Sun. Now, just to remind you again where both these teams two stand, Atlanta Dream have a great record, ranking 3rd in the WNBA with a 5-win, 2-loss record, 71.4% win percentage, and they actually face off against Connecticut Sun. Connecticut Sun do rank 12th in the WNBA and have a 1-6 record. So definitely hasn't been the best for them. Now, looking at someone like Nia Coffey in the matchup against Connecticut Sun, we do see that Connecticut Sun do rank when it comes to points allowed. We see that they rank 12th. When it comes to assists allowed, they do rank 10th, and then rebounds allowed, we also see that they rank 8th. So we definitely have seen, Connecticut Sun be on a little bit of the short end or the lower half of the actual defensive ratings. That's a big, big reason why we do very much like the over for this situation here. We are expecting to see someone like Nia Coffey go on the over and take advantage of Connecticut Sun's poor defense, and we have definitely seen her do that already to Connecticut Sun before. And the thing that I'm talking about is that if we look at her last 5 games, not just going through it, on the 23rd of last month, faced off against Indiana. Now they had they had that loss, 81-76 loss, 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists there. Then on the 25th, faced off against Dallas, where they won 83-75 with 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. And then on the 26th, faced off against Connecticut Sun, she had a 79-55 victory, but had 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. So she absolutely smashed all 3 of her lines, points, rebounds, and assists, and we are expecting a similar outcome like that in this next game. But continuing on from that, also on the 28th, faced off against LA, where she actually had 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, and then faced off against Seattle with a 94-87 victory and had 0 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. So You know, we have seen Nia Coffey some of the games. You know, she has a decent usage rate or decent usage rate out there. Other games, not really. But we have seen her, you know, really dominate against, you know, a team like Connecticut Sun. And that's why we are expecting a similar situation and a similar outcome like that one in this next matchup. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for Nia Coffey coming into this game. Not only does she have a decent usage rate in all three departments, but we do see against, you know, very poor defensive teams, we have seen Nia Coffey be able to take advantage of it and really beat her line. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this one. So keep an eye out for Nia Coffey. And as always, keep an eye out for the line. If the line is under our averages, then definitely look to go on the over.